Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball. We're back, baby. Opening day, the opening weekend. Oh my God. Trevor Plouffe. Let's get it. Let's get it. We're back.
Jose Caballero. Boom.
Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball, presented to you by SeatGeek. My name is Jake Storielli. That is Trevor Plouffe on the West Coast. BBD behind the plate, and we're back. And opening day was back, and baseball is back. And I love all of it, Trev. I mean, you know we're just high on life because of a new guy wearing pinstripes that we'll talk about him in a little bit. But around the league, man, opening day cracks me up because in a sport that's 162 and, you know, it's a long season and it's one game. You got to put it in your rear view. Opening day, we don't treat that way, and I love it. Like, I was just Alex Cora was 0-5 on opening day, and it's like, okay, like that's crazy, and he cares about it. But they're 1-6 now. We'll get some Sox talk in there. Trevor, my guy, how you doing?
It is so nice to be back. 2024 season. This is episode 818. If you know anything about me, it's that I'm a Valley guy. 818 for life. Listen, opening day, you're so right. It's just different. It feels like each series is a playoff series because that's the way the juice is in the stadium and the juice is in the clubhouse. Guys are fired up. You know, each at bat means so much to them because their numbers up on the Jumbotron don't mean anything to them yet.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I always talk about in the playoffs is guys get up there, your season's a race. It's all about just winning the game. And that's what happens, you know, the first couple series. And then once your numbers start to settle in, you're like, oh shit, like I'm hitting $170. I better get going. Like, things start to change as the season wears on, but you're right. Opening day, opening series are always just so exciting. You see the amount of, you know, excitement on these guys' faces when they drive in a run or make a good play. Like, that stuff will go away when we get to June and July. But for now, it's just everyone's fired up. I mean, I got on Instagram Live at like 6:30 today because I didn't know what to do with myself.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to start the show. Love everyone. Thank you for joining us. It's gonna be a great year, man.
Little late final game, Dodgers comeback, because why not? Because they just don't care. Let's get into it. And hey, to start the year every year, if you guys are watching on YouTube, please subscribe, or wherever you're listening, subscribe, comment, review, like all that stuff helps. We don't do that every episode. We really should, because when we do ask, it actually helps and drives numbers.
Yeah, do it.
So if you're a regular, even if you're not, subscribe. All that stuff helps out so much. And a reminder that every year we're trying to get better, you know, that 1% better every day. So we're going to be messing with some format stuff as the season goes. We'd love some honest feedback along the way. It's opening day. We're going to try to get as much in as we can. And the final reminder, you know your team better than us. So if there was something you saw this weekend, comment, because we read them. And it's like, oh, shoot, okay. I didn't know that. Oh, Javier's throwing a new changeup. See, I knew that one, but there's a lot of stuff I don't know that let us know about your team, and we'll do our best along the way. And speaking of doing their best, Tommy John underwear. I'm wearing them now. I'll flash them at the end of this ad read. I don't care.
Please do.
They're my only. I had an adult decision one day where I was like, you know what? I'm just Tommy John lifestyle, and that's all I've got now. So wore them on my wedding day. Wear them every day now. Because why not? Tommy John's Second Skin underwear. What you put in your pants can make or break your day. Been there. And the luxurious support of Second Skin guarantees everything will go smoothly. With over 20 million pairs sold and thousands of 5-star reviews, guys everywhere love their Tommy Johns, and you're hearing from one right now. So get 20% off your first order right now at TommyJohn.com/talkin. 20% on Second Skin at TommyJohn.com/talkin. I'm probably going to re-up, if I'm being honest.
I sleep in my underwear. That's it. I don't have pajamas. I don't do that. All right. When I put these bad boys on and hop into bed, Olivia looks a little different at me. In a good way. Don't you dare ever not show your underwear again on this show.
I was making a selection this morning, realized, big game tomorrow.
Yeah,
big game.
Boone app going to a show, Yanks late night. I need my Tommy John ready to go tomorrow.
That's such a good point. There's always your best underwear for the big game, Beebs. You nailed it.
It's opening day underwear with Tommy John.
Go.
Click the link, 20% off. Let's do some American League Baseball. And we are heading H-Town, Funky Town, city where the top drops, Space City, city with the purple drink, Kelsey Wingert's, Houston, a house of horrors for the Yankees, and the broomsticks came out. Probably not the way you thought. The New York Yankees, they come back in the first 3 games. Juan Soto, Trev. There's been a lot of Soto baiting in this office. My goodness, because he's one of the best to ever do it. Oswaldo Cabrera looked like one of the best to ever do it. He tied all 3 of the first 3 games. And then on that final day, if you haven't had a chance to see the Hader versus Soto at bat, special stuff. The Yankees showed a lot of fight. Stroman with a good outing. Rodon survived. Houston, they're never worried. There was a lot of new faces coming out of the pen and stuff like that. So, hey, Yankee fans are higher than they've been in a long time. Houston fans, obviously not happy, but they know they've got 158 left. Math pod. Yankees take 4. The Jays and the Rays, they split a 4-gamer, and basically you got beat up if you lost that game. 8-2, 8-2, Jays and Rays. And then 5-1 Rays, 9-2 Blue Jays. Kevin Gossman pitched in that last game. I know he was having some shoulder stuff and building up, but he's back. That's big news for them. Brandon Lau had the big homer after the mistake in the field. Justin Turner went nuts. All the Blue Jays went nuts that first game. 2 really talented AL East teams. They kind of just back and forth this whole series. Zach Littell, how's your 6th shot? And that's what happened down in the Trop, which had been a house of horrors for Toronto, so they might be a little happier. The Boston Red Sox, oh my God. Bobby Dahlbeck. They going to face that Seattle Mariners staff, and they survive, man. They take the bread games. Brian Bayo, he gets it done against Castillo on opening day. Couple righties with some nice changeups. Sox kid. They lose the middle 2 games, a 1-0 Pivetta Kirby. Fire me up for that. And they lose the extra inning game, but they get it done. Tyler O'Neill. Haven't seen a lot of us in the same room, have you? He has a couple nice games for them, and like I mentioned, Cora gets his first opening day win. Julio Rodriguez got his first walk-off. Fire me up. Guard dogs in the A's. I don't know, man. Before opening day, I kind of got myself hyped up for the A's. Here's Alex Wood. They've got some young talent. Yeah. They lost 8-0 on opening day. They lose the next 2, but they get a win on the final day. JJ Bleday, Estuary Ruiz. Never say that name right. I'm sorry. And for the guard dogs, Stephen Kwan off to a hot start. Shane Bieber with a nice one. And a lot of their Andres Jimenez, a 3-for-3 day. Guard dogs get it done against Oakland. I think a lot of teams are going to do that this year. And I think the Baltimore Orioles are going to get it done against a lot of teams this year. They take 2 out of 3 from the Halos. Everyone was getting their Halo jokes in on opening day. Mike Trout, the only guy be hitting. That's tough in the 11-3 Corbin Burns debut. He looks good. The Birds come back. They put up a 13 spot the next day. Everyone hitting. Henderson, Santander, Mountcastle with Gray Rod with the nice start. But the Halos, a little fight on the last game. Taylor Ward with the homer. 2 out of 3 for the Orioles. Your Twins, Trev, they take 2 out of 3 from the Royals. Some really nice pitching performances from Pablo Lopez and Joe Ryan and the bullpens, man. 1 run in each of that game, while Carlos Correa showed up on opening day. Royals, they get 1 on the last day. Bobby Witt Jr., sure. Brady Singer, 7 shut piece. Standout performance, we'll see. And your Detroit Tigers, They sweep the White Sox. So, hey, White Sox might be going through some of that this year, but Scooble, 6 shutout. Riley Green, a big day. And how about Jack Flaherty? 6 innings, 7 Ks. And that is what happened in the American League. Why not? Why not?
Did you just crush it first day, Poppy?
Why not us? Why not us, Trev?
Holy shnikes, man. Hey.
Yeah, we're back.
Snaps free. I haven't heard one of those in a while. You got me fired up. Unbelievable.
Trev, no standings updates.
We don't need the standings.
You know where your team is at right now. And I say this very proudly. And if you want to listen to an hour 37 of Yankee fans being delusional, go check out Talkin Yanks.
I don't.
Trevor, I will kick to you about the Yankees-Astros series because I think it is the biggest thing to come out of the American League from the opening weekend of games. The vibes are completely different. We're losing our minds, dude, and I don't know if it's coming off of last year being a nightmare. I don't know if it's getting to watch one of the best baseball players to ever play this game, and that's not hyperbole, dude. It's Juan Soto. Trev, Yankee fans are feeling pretty good.
I mean, look, I've ingested a lot of Yankee social media content over the weekend. I obviously watched the games. It was a great series for the Yankees for a bunch of different reasons, but it definitely starts with Juan Soto. I mean, and I don't think this is like far out to say.
Okay.
Yes, it is. It's so stupid what I'm
Say
about to
it.
say, but just bear with me a little bit.
Please.
There are guys that get traded over to your team that change, the outlook of your franchise, the direction of your franchise. Some would say the history of your franchise. The Yankees have done that a few times. I'm not going to name the one that everyone's going to point to because that's ridiculous. But bringing Juan Soto over and watching him perform the way he's performed this first series, it's just, what else could you expect from the guy? The at-bats that he put up against the people he did it against. You mentioned the Hader versus Soto at-bat. 3-2. Take some good pitches. Foul some good pitches. We're talking about, I mean, is it far-fetched to say 2 Hall of Famers going at each other? Like, Hader's, he's got to do it for a little bit longer, but his numbers speak for themselves.
Two of the best doing it right now.
100%. This is like must-watch, playoff baseball, game on the line type shit, and you got Juan Soto. And let me tell you this, Hader didn't make any mistakes at that either. It wasn't like he fed the dude pitches down the middle. He was on the corners. He was right, inside, outside. But Juan Soto is so disciplined at the plate. And he just has such a good idea of what he wants to do. And he can use the whole field. He can pull homers. He can hit homers to the opposite field. When you can cover that many quadrants of the plate, it's fucking... I mean, that's why he is who he is. Like, a normal hitter can't do that. A normal hitter has to, basically say, I'm going to go and attack the outer half of the plate or the inner half. And sometimes, a pitcher will make a mistake and you get lucky and you can cover both. But against a guy like Josh Hader, you really got to pick a quadrant and a pitch almost, but not Juan Soto. And there's got to be stories about him growing up hitting fucking sunflower seeds or rocks or something, because you don't develop that kind of plate discipline without doing something ridiculous like that growing up. So, I mean, that I think was that at bat exemplified a difference in the Yankees. So I think that's huge. And I'll also go back to, you mentioned there's some different faces coming out of the Astros bullpen, but the familiar ones, the guys that are supposed to be locked down, they got hit. They got touched up. I mean, Hader gives up that single. Presley gives up a homer. Abreu gives up 2 homers. Like, it was a gutsy, kind of just a great performance by the Yankees. I agree with you that the Astros aren't sweating it at all because they're the Astros and they've been there, done that. I'm not writing them off whatsoever, but I am writing in the Yankees because it does seem a little bit different. And when you do have a guy like Juan Soto anchoring your lineup and he's going to give you these type of bats. I mean, how many hits did Aaron Judge have in the series? 2?
I think 2.
Yeah.
He wasn't he didn't have to carry the team, dude. Like, how
Right.
different is that from years past? So, I mean, other guys stepped up too. You mentioned Cabrera. I know you guys always talk about, punt lineups and the Yankees not doing that. And you mentioned Birdie not being in there. Hey, Birdie made a hell of a play
Sure did.
in that last game. Like, so it was just a great series for them. And I'm not ready to fucking say the Yankees are going to run away with the division or that things are always going to be this good with the Yankees and Yankee fandom. But Juan Soto is going to make you guys probably have more good days than bad days. So, like, I think the other thing that's going around the internet is the Yankees got to sign this guy.
Yeah.
And the price is going up.
Yeah, and you know this, like, Juan Soto is going to free agency. Like, the Yankees could not offer something to Juan Soto that I think he signed. So I've gotten a little, I'm not going to say frustrated because it's not at all with that, but, extend Soto, what are the Yankees doing? Like, Juan Soto is less than a season away from free agency, and I don't think he can almost do anything to make his price tag go down. That Juan Soto is going to hit free agency, and if you're Yankees Nation or fans, I think your biggest thing is make this year as special as possible. Make being a Yankee as special as possible for Juan Soto, because the Yankees can match what any other team can offer. They're the Yankees. That when Juan Soto gets to the end of his free agency, that should be the Yankees' ultimate trump card. So I know we're already getting ahead of ourselves a little bit there, but even the dumb stuff, Trev, like hitting is contagious. Every Yankee at bat just felt more competitive, and you wonder what it feeds off. You've talked about the clubhouse dynamics a lot. Like the Latin guy said, he's the new Latin leader on the team because he's Juan Soto. Yeah. And like you said, Judge and Glaber, they didn't really contribute this series, and that was all the Yankees had offensively last year. So Stroman with a good start. Like it was a really fun weekend of Yankees baseball. They put the pressure on him. Houston made a couple mistakes defensively late in games that opened up one or two. So the fact it was against Houston, in Houston, who, by the way, Houston fans, and I know we do this and sometimes we tread lightly because of our histories together, but let us know how you guys are feeling. And Houston, remember they didn't win a lot at home last year? Like that. Yeah. That's the button I'm pressing. Like, what's going on? Like, Minute Maid used to be hell on earth.
The fun fact, like, going around today is since September 1st of last year, Yanks have 7 wins in Minute Maid, and the Astros have 5, including the playoffs. So,
I'll say this about Houston: they were in every single game. Yankees had to come back. Juan Soto has to throw a guy out at the plate in the 9th inning.
Yeah,
to save the game for the Yankees, and then you have the comeback, in the last game. So, like, I don't think it's obviously not the ideal start to a season for the Astros, but they're gonna be okay, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I will be interested to see their bullpen depth as the season goes on. A couple not familiar faces coming out for Houston. That let's see.
Especially the first 2 games, like the Abreu being suspended the first 2, I think had a big impact.
Yeah, that hurt. Trev, in that AL slate, what team or series sticks out the most to you?
It's interesting because a lot of teams put together, great efforts, but if we look at, the Orioles taking care of business against the Angels, we expect that. I mean, I feel like I still don't give enough credit to the Orioles and like the talent that they have on that roster. It's so good. And I know a lot of these guys still aren't like household names, I guess, because they're so young, but maybe they are. I mean, I don't know, people.
You might hear about one of them in Standout. I'm just being real.
Yeah. They took care of business. I do love the shot of Jesus on Easter.
Yeah, that's nice.
Getting the Angels to win. Like,
that's baseball.
That's just good old-fashioned fun right there. So Orioles take care of business. The Guardians take care of business. Fuzzy is on Twitter saying, man, these guard dogs are taking different at bats. They're taking monster hacks and then settling in the. So I like that analysis from Fuzzy, and it seemed like that was the way it was going. They were hitting some bombs there. But it's the A's. I did
Oakland.
talk to Dallas
It's
Braden, and I said, "How's it going, bro?" He's like, "Eh."
I saw Dallas posted Jung-Hoo Lee's first career homer on his Insta, and people were like, "So is this just kind of what you're doing now?" And he's kinda like, yeah.
Dallas is in he's in an
bit.
interesting spot.
Yeah.
He's having fun, but it's going to be a long season
Yeah.
for him. You know, we can go to my Twins. They had a good series, although a big loss for them in Royce Lewis in the quad. I don't think they've given the MRI results, but I did talk to a few people. I don't think it's great. I think this guy's going to miss 2 months probably.
Sheesh.
Which is nuts. And don't quote me on that, but that's just what I'm thinking. And he's a difference maker, man. So the Twins are going to have to find something there. They do a great job in the first 2 games. They get good pitching performances. Bailey Ober, the nightmare, comes out. And people are saying he might have been tipping his pitches. I haven't watched the video yet, but his line was, it's atrocious. It was bad. Absolute blow up line to start. But the Royals are still fun to watch. MJ Melendez had some good at bats there, some good defensive plays. Bobby Witt obviously is just taking care of business. But a nice series for my Twins overall. What else we got to go? I think, Tigers taking care of the White Sox. Another one. Like they're supposed to do that, and they get some good performances. Shout out Jack. Shout out Schoolboy. Like these guys are doing their thing. I think the other kind of like big series in the AL was that Red Sox Mariners. A lot of fun out there, man. A lot of fun. The Red Sox, I think when we talked about them, we said, where's the depth? Like kind of in the lineup and also the rotation. A lot of these guys, haven't done it a ton before. We always talk about full pension Piv and the kind of pitcher he can be. And can he put it together for a whole year? He was filthy.
Yeah.
And to be able to match up the way they did, Cutter Crawford is also herky-jerky, disgusting. Like I would hate to face him. But all the Red Sox starters had great starts. So you could take solace in that. Going up against a really good rotation with the Mariners, and you hold your own. You split the series. Probably could have won the series if it wasn't for, that comeback in the ninth or was it not in the ninth? It was in the 10th for the Mariners there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I a lot of standout pitching performances, and it's Boston who, we've and everyone has been tough on their pitching staff. Cutter Crawford had a sneaky, really nice year last year, and he builds off of it. Bayo, we're waiting for the next step, and it might be coming because the guy's big bugaboo was versus lefties, and he has a fantastic changeup, which as long as baseball goes back, that's the righty's neutralizer to good lefties. So you'd like to think something clicks there. Pivetta, I think stuff plus-wise this spring, which is one of our guy Saris's big stats, I think Pivetta was top of the list, if not near the top of the list. If you're Boston, that lineup still has parts of it near the top half. The bottom half, there's a lot of young and a lot of can this click, and maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. They're going to score. They're the Boston Red Sox. If they can get pitching outings like this, and that's what's all over this whole series, because George Kirby, 6.2 shutout. Logan Gilbert, 7 innings, 1 earned run. So there was a lot of really good pitching in this series. And Tyler O'Neill, man, that's circle that one, obviously, for the similarities between me and him. But if he can tap into a fresh start and kind of where's that Red Sox and hitting a couple homers, I don't know. That's what free agency and these different teams and how much you're extending yourself or not extending. Like this is what it's supposed to be. Like the Red Sox, hey, Tyler O'Neill, come through, have an opportunity to play with us, ball out, and it can be a win-win for both sides. And early returns, pretty nice there.
Just to harp on the pitchers a little bit more for Boston, 22 innings pitched, 4 earned runs, 27 Ks to 5 walks. That's egg on everybody's face.
Yeah.
Like foot and mouth, like, okay. We knew there was potential there, but I think I also think it's okay for people to say before the season, hey, we got to see it.
Yeah.
First series, we saw it. So now, hey, Red Sox fans, my expectations a little bit higher.
Okay.
So, do with that what you wish. I do want to talk about the Caballero, Cabrera play, Raucous, but we'll lump that in with the Rhys McNeil thing a little bit later.
Okay. Yeah. I like that. And if you're Boston, I know. I don't know, man. You're playing 4 against Seattle. Everyone's been talking about their rotational offseason. Get out of there with a split, and now you head to 3 in Oakland, and you're about to bang out this West Coast trip to start your season. Like, that stuff matters. That stuff matters. I think we've got a lot of awards and different combos that are going to come from the other series. I know Trev mentioned, but a little golf clap for the Tigers. I know we don't have a lot of expectations for the White Sox, and there's some sad baseball going on over there. And I know the Tigers became like a sexy little AL Central pick as the offseason.
Everyone's all over the Tigers.
Everyone loves the Tigers, which I get it. Like I see the young talent and some of the pitching, even though I was riding the Maeda bus pretty hard and he got beat up. But they had a lot of other good happen. So we'll cover some more of that in a little bit. For now, let's flash forward to some National League and the one Interleague series, and it's brought to you by SeatGeek, our friends over at The Geek, which they probably don't want it called that. It's SeatGeek. 28 million downloads. Trev's got his seat there. I've got a seat here. And there's 70,000 events every single day on SeatGeek, including sports, concerts, and festivals. Maybe you could go to, I don't know, go to an LA game and see Trevor Plouffe there tonight. I don't know.
I'll be there.
Whoops.
I will be there rubbing elbows.
Your fingerprints all over on both of those teams, Yamamoto, Chapman. And SeatGeek has the hookup for you guys. Use code Talkin, $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek. That's $20 off your first purchase with promo code Talkin. We've got a link. Download the app. It's so easy to use. I know how to use it. Let's do a little National League ball. Your San Francisco Giants faced off with the San Diego Padres. Those teams should be neck and neck all year. Padres went bread games. Opening day, they're honoring Seidler, and they get it done. Yu Darvish looked gross for his 5 innings, and Jake Cronenworth with the big double. But the Giants fight back. Kyle Harrison, how's your future? He looked pretty nasty, and Matty Chapman with the 2-homer day. They followed up the next day. Jordan Hicks looking good as a starter, and Jung-Hoo Lee, guy, with his first home run. I know he won you over, Trev, but the Padre fans won over their fan base on the last day. They went nutty. Ha-Sung Kim, Campusano, Machado, and the kid Jackson Merrill, they put up a 13-burger to split that 4-game set. The Cardinals and the Dodgers. Cardinals Sunday Night Baseball. Are they about to sneak out a little series split? Oh, no. Teoscar, he is a bad man. And how about Max Muncy off the bench? Pimps his home run. Dodgers come back. They are good. We also saw Yamamoto bounce back in this series. Glasnow, God, he's wearing the Dodger blues. Pretty good. And Mookie Betts is just, he's unreal. He's literally not really. Bobby Miller, oh my God. Victor Scott, too. Where'd this kid come from? He looks fun for the Cardinals. Made it out of camp. We'll dive into that series a little bit. Might not deep dive into this one too much because the Diamondbacks just abused the Rockies. I know the Rockies got that 3rd game. Happy for you. But on opening night, when you give up, I don't know, the biggest inning in baseball history, 14-run inning. 14-run inning, people. If you went to the bathroom, you missed it. Zach Gallen shoved. Pretty much everyone hit for Arizona. Moreno, Gurriel, Walker. Merrill Kelly gets it done the second night. Jock Peterson, who sat out opening day versus lefty, he gets 4 hits in his first game. The vibes are high with my Snakes, including Brandon Pfaadt in the last game. Kind of one of the semi-question marks. 5 innings, 1 Ernie. Hey, Brenton Doyle, Zeke Tovar. They got it done for the Rocks in that 3rd game. Yikes. Pirates. Okay, Trev, you drinking the Kool-Aid? They sweep the Miami Fish they take all 4 games after having to go 12 innings in that first one. Key Bryan and Brian Reynolds, they get involved there. Key Bryan's in every game this series. O'Neal Cruz shows up in that third game. How about our guy Rowdy Tellez getting rowdy in the dugout with his big home run in that final game. Pirates, they win 2 extra inning games in those final 3 games, 7-9-9 their run scored. That Pirates offense, they kind of, as I was going through their TPP, you saw me getting convinced. Remember, Pittsburgh did have an exciting start to last season that ended kind of quickly. Jazz Chisholm with the slammy. Miami, though, tough little opening weekend for them. The big dogs in that division, the Braves and the Phillies, and the Braves came out and that thing was thangin', Trev. Spencer Strider, 5 innings, 2 earned. He actually gets outpitched by Wheeler, but the Braves offense late. Michael Harris, Matt Olson, and Ronald Acuna. Yeah. Those same guys the next day, they pick up Max Fried. He doesn't get out of the first. Tough opening day. That whole place is going nuts. Doesn't matter because they get to Aaron Nola. They get 12 hits, 7 earned off of Nola. Sick, man. But the Phillies do get the final one. There was a controversial call. They overturn the third out of the inning, and Trey Turner takes advantage. Schwartz, leadoff homer, obviously. Phillies kind of survived the Braves, if we're being honest. Speaking of not surviving, the Brewers sweep the Mets, man. We're going to dive into this one. There's going to be breakdowns. Hoskins and McNeil, new Brewer Hoskins, picking up where he left off, just terrorizing the poor New York Mets. Freddie P with 1 hit. And that's all the Mets had on opening day. Bryce Terang contributing. Willie Adames all over this series. Brew Crew off to the sweepy start. And the Cincinnati Reds looked like they might have dropped 2 out of 3 to the Nats, but it's why I love this team. On the final day, they come back. Our guy Will Benson with the homer. Encarnacion Strand back-to-back will take the win. A fun opening day. Frankie Montas and Nick Martini. Hey, Nats, they took that second game. C.J. Abrams, he's an alien. He's a freak. Their outfield, I hope we don't talk about it. Kind of weird what's going on there. Your guy Eddie Rosario playing center field. Final series, Rangers, Cubbies. Rangers, they take the first 2, including an exciting opening day. Jonah Heim watching the ball as they're watching runs come home. Ball don't lie, as Jeff Passan said. Rangers win that one. They put up big boy numbers the next day. Seager, Young, Adolis, and Jared Walsh, former Angel, get in the mix. Cubbies, they get the win they need on that final game. Jordan Wicks does enough. Ian Happ, 4 hits. Seiya, Chris Morel, I love him. 3 RBI. The tough news, Justin Steele banged up for the Cubbies. That's a tough one. And that's what happened in the National League.
Great job, Poppy. Great job. No standings again. Take a sip of that coffee for us. Thank you very much. Is that tea or coffee?
That's coffee, bro. I'm about that life.
You could be a tea guy.
We got a couple tea guys in the office. Doesn't do anything for me.
Doesn't what's his name? Ted Lasso hates tea.
Yeah.
He hates it.
I have a little bit of that. Not sure why. Just dumb American. Ted Lasso. There you go.
No standings. Where are we dropping, Poppy? Where do you want to start? Do you want to go straight to the Rhys McNeil thing?
Yes.
Do you want to talk about the Pirates?
Yes. Let's do Rhys McNeil because it's I think Jimmer's got a breakdown. We're talking about it on Weekly Dumb. It was one of the big ones.
Story.
One of the big ones from this opening weekend. If you have no idea, Rhyser, our guy, slides in decently hard to second base, and you do see McNeil's leg give that little quiver you don't like to see in any sport. And then McNeil comes up yelling, and if you know our guy Jimmy, he digs deep. And the more layers of the onion you unpeel, it's starting to actually look tough for McNeil. So Trev, I'll kick to you, man. You're the ball player. What do you got?
All right. I mean, there are so many layers to this. Let's just start off with the slide. The slide was a legal slide. He never lost contact with the base. He slid right into the bag. Was it like a tad bit late? I guess. People, but like, and my stance on things on the field are I am all about player safety. I want all the best players to be on the field. With that being said, like there are times where you got to protect yourself as a player. And I don't know if like McNeil did that at all. Like, he expected the base to be like a brick wall for him.
Yeah.
That's not the rule. And it's not like the way that you approach second base. And hey, much better second baseman than I was. But like, I understand that there are times where guys are going to come in. You got to get the fuck out of the way, especially if you're not really trying to turn it. He was already losing control of the ball that was going. You come across the base, lean towards first base, so you just kind of collapse over the runner. Like anytime you put your weight on that like back foot, like that's when you expose your knees and your leg to, getting rolled on. So like there's a lot of things going on there. I don't think the slide was dirty. I like absolutely don't. And McNeil has played long enough where there used to be much more dirty stuff in the second base. So it's not like he's come up and never experienced this at the big league level. Or like in baseball in general, like you understand how to combat those things as a second baseman. And it's what makes second base one of the tougher infield positions is dealing with that. So I think the whole thing was how he reacted. If he didn't react that way, like none of this fucking happens.
Right.
Like immediately he pointed down to Rhys and started saying shit. You're dirty. What the fuck was that, Rhys? And it's like, I don't know why he necessarily reacted. People were pointing out that, hey, he kind of rolled into his legs. Like Rhys was holding on to the base. Like that's what you're taught to do. Go in. You're still able to break up a double play. Just you got to slide into the base. If a guy is going to stand like that right behind the base or right on the base, it is 100% completely legal and a good baseball play to go like break up a double play.
Well, and
I don't get the frustration from McNeil there. I honestly just don't really understand why he was mad at all, unless that's just like, and maybe it kind of seems, I don't know, personally, kind of his personality.
So I want to be careful because I don't want to step on Jim's toes too much because he's doing the breakdown and he dove into this hard, and he had a really good tweet that was Hoskins sliding into McNeil to break up double plays, and I think he broke up 4 out of 5 or all 5. So,
but not in a egregious way.
No.
We saw the video. It's
in a very legal way. Like, if this one came up against the borderline, maybe a little more, like you said, you could say maybe it's a little late. I think McNeil's bobble kind of puts him, actually in more danger, and maybe he's bobbling because he knows Rhee's coming, and he knows Rhys has broken up a bunch of his double plays, which that's good baseball, right? And it's one of the first things you learn as, I remember taking infield practice and, you do the, like you said, hey, we're turning double plays. You're either come through the bag, come all the way across it and make the throw. Do kind of the step on the bag and take a step back and make the throw. Or, kind of do that signature, that beautiful, do the little jump, get through the runner. That's the tasty one. That's for the fans.
Brandon Phillips.
Me talking about turning double plays. Welcome back.
Here we go.
Welcome back to Talking Baseball, people. I think Jimmy has some more fun facts going, and I think it is a lot about how McNeil views that play, because Jimmy's got numbers now on McNeil coming into second base.
Oh my gosh,
that are pretty.
Check the breakout for that, because it is.
Yeah.
What? It's crazy. Like I can't believe like this isn't like almost like known around baseball. And maybe it is.
It probably
is.
Second
baseman, you're just like, this is awesome. We won't get into that. Let Jimmy have his deal. So that's just the one part. Rhys hits him with the wham, which like,
right.
It's pretty. Like, it's funny, but it's also, that's pretty damn disrespectful. Like, if someone wad me,
Oh yeah.
I'd be fucking furious. So, like, I get then why, like, McNeil's, like, talking, because if you see Rhys do that to you twice on the baseball field, you're like, dude, come on. So, that all happens. Again, perfectly legal slide by Rhys. He's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. That's a good baseball play. McNeil gets fired up. Nothing else happens that day. Then we get the next day, and there's some animosity there. You're wondering, is Rhys going to get hit? Severino's on the mound. I believe there's a base open. They don't go after him. They leave him. And Rhys has a day. I think he had a double or a 2-run single, whatever which one it was. Then he has the homer, and he's really feeling it. And people are saying, well, then he waved at McNeil as he went by. No, he's given like is this the I love you or
to the bullpen?
To the bullpen. Yeah. He's been doing it for years. Okay, that's what he was doing. And then we bring in, what's his name?
Ramirez, yeah.
Johan.
Who, after the game, Carlos Mendoza, we can get into that in a little bit, said he has extreme control problems. Okay. Clearly, you brought him in and told him to throw it at Rhys. Okay. My thing is this. Do it the first at bat. And do it the right way. They're not going to throw Severino out of the game. If he hits Rhys or just brushes him back, that's what Ron Darling was saying in the booth. I was watching the Mets version of it. He's like, you can brush him back without hitting him, and that sends the message. Or if you hit him and it's below the belt where you're supposed to do it, there's going to be warnings issued, and that's it. They are not going to throw Severino on. That was a lot of Mets fans like, how do you not know that they're not going to do it because they don't want to waste their pitcher? They're not going to throw him out, dude.
Yeah.
They will give warnings if you do it the right way. Now, if you throw at his head, they might throw you out. So do it the right way. Anyways, they wait. They bring in a guy that throws a bowling ball sinker. He throws it up by Rhys's head behind him. And then people act like it didn't happen. Like he didn't do it on purpose. Yeah. Clearly he did. He gets thrown out, gets suspended. Mendoza after the game. I know you're not supposed to say, yeah, we came out and hit him, because you don't want to get the guy even more days of suspension, more fines. The managers will get fined for that. So I get that you just say, that one got away from him a little bit. The way he went about his press conference and just kept doubling down and tripling down on how it wasn't on purpose. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? That makes you look even worse. It makes the team look even worse. Just say your piece and be done with it.
Yeah.
But to say that he has extreme control problems, why is he on the team then?
Right.
And that's the guy that you bring in to do it, a guy that doesn't know where the ball's going, so it could hit him in the head. Here's my thing on this. If you want to send a message to Rhys, go ahead and do it. Rhys even said after the game, there's a way to police the game on the field. And it's been going on for a long time. You do it the right way, and then it is done. The way they did it, I don't think it's done or should be done, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Now, they didn't retaliate the day after. But when you decide that you're going to defend McNeil and your team and you're not going to be pushed around, and then you're going to throw it, guys, the only thing that you're doing is opening up Pete Alonso, Francisco Lindor to injuries. Because those are the guys they're going to throw at. They're not going to throw at Jeff McNeil. They're going to...
You throw at McNeil.
They might throw at McNeil, but they're more than likely going to throw at your big dogs.
Yeah.
Because that's just how it goes. So I was saying, if that happened and the Brew Crew decided to throw at someone the next day, how's McNeil going to feel? Like a piece of shit. If you're the guy that causes your teammate to get hit, man, there's probably not a worse feeling on the baseball field. So I think players need to remember that. You can get fired up, you can do all these things, but your actions are going to have consequences. And if you don't end it right there and you decide to throw at somebody, you're just opening up your team to get hurt. And I don't think that makes any sense ever in the game. So fuck, man. I don't know. I thought the Mets handled this so poorly. um, I just it upset me a lot.
They handled
That's kind of what I think about it.
They handled the whole weekend so poorly. And there's so many moving parts, man. You mentioned Severino. He gives up an infield single and a single. He's already got one run on the board by the time Rhys comes up, and this is a guy that had a brutal year last year that he's basically got another contract year that in his first inning, he's got a run on the board. He's looking at Rhys. I don't know. There's so many moving parts there, and I guess the part that sucks for me is kind of like you're saying this should almost be a non-story. Like the slide itself kind of isn't. And I don't know. We just spent 5 minutes of talking baseball, talking about this and clearing it up when, I don't know, Jackson Chourio makes his MLB debut and one of the youngest players to debut in a while. And he gave the people a smattering of everything, stolen base, highlight catches. He looks electric. The Brewers in general, they got a lot of hitting, which has been some of their question mark, where the Mets kind of just put together a whole tough weekend at the office. I don't know. It's one of those things it's almost not surprising, which stinks.
I said I was going to loop in Edward Cabrera and
Caballero
into
Cabrera,
this. Okay. Right? That's my bad. Sorry. Wrong Cabrera. So that happens. If you didn't see it, Caballero bunts. Cabrera throws it away. Caballero gets thrown out at third base by 30 feet.
Yeah.
He kind of just goes in there, just takes it, and goes past the base. Cabrera's backing up, kind of comes to the base a little bit, and they end up in each other's face.
Yeah.
So, that's, heat of the moment. All of a sudden, you're in the opposing team's face. The guy just bunted on you, and he made you look like a fool because you threw it away. Heat of the moment stuff. Cabrera ends up pushing him in the face. Now, I think that Caballero is a fucking pest,
yes.
And I love it. And we said that on this show. It's going to cause drama all year long in the AL East. That's kind of what he does. I thought he handled it so well. He didn't do anything. But Bichette grabs him. Other teammates grab Cabrera. Umpire comes in, separates it, and that's it. After the game, Caballero says the right things. Cabrera definitely says the right things. He said, it's my fault.
Yeah.
It was a heat of the moment thing. And this is where it ends. He doesn't want his teammates getting thrown at. He understands that he messed up. This is the way you handle a situation like that. If Jeff McNeil after the game said, you know what, I was just fired up. Rhys came in a little bit hard on me. We've seen him do some things before, but when I went back and looked at the video, wasn't as bad as I thought. End of story. None of this happens.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great point.
So who handled it better?
It's a great point.
Come on, guys.
I like reading Trevor Plouffe's stuff. He's got a lot of good takes.
Thank you. And Ron Darling, when you have your own broadcast talking crap about you, that's when you messed up. Yeah. These guys were all over them.
Yeah.
He's like, what did he say? Something like, you can't hit a guy after he's beat the crap out of you all day. Just a bad look. And that's exactly what happened.
They got embarrassed. And Trev, I'm going to try to segue the segue there because you mentioned Toronto and Tampa, which we went over quick, and it's because the games kind of were in one direction all four times, split. That the Jays took two, the Rays took two. A lot of good outings on the field. Savali and Littell had some really good pitching. Meanwhile, Justin Turner goes nuts in that final game for Toronto. Bo Bichette with some tough defense early on, but he stays hitting. There's an NL series that I think has some parallels to Tampa, Toronto, because I don't know. I mean, in a way you could dive in for an hour, in a way you could dive in for a minute like we just did. San Francisco Giants and the San Diego Padres. All four of those teams are going to be competitive this year. Division rivals with, the teams that won their game outside of Padres kind of coming back on opening day. They won it in some impressive fashion. So for San Francisco and the Giants, I guess, is there anything that stood out to you in that series?
A little bit of everything. I thought there were some great performances. We saw some fun Fernando Tatis outfield stuff. He zooed a ball, made some good catches. Um, I'll start with the Giants though, because they brought in so many guys.
Yeah.
The guys they brought in performed.
Yeah.
I mean, Chapman's doing his thing, making incredible plays at third base, hitting homers. Solaire's doing his thing. Lee, who sorry guys, I bought a bunch of stock in him.
Yeah, you're in.
I saw him, hits the homer. Like he just seems very comfortable at the plate. He seems like he feels already like he belongs, which is not easy to do when you come over to the big leagues for the first time. I'm all in on this guy. They showed the beer shower after the game. I actually talked to my buddy JP Martinez, who's the pitching coach there, and he goes, kind of wish that didn't make its way on social media. I said, why not, dude?
Yeah.
That was awesome. It shows team bonding. This is the stuff people want to see. I think they got a really good clubhouse there. I think they're going to be I think they're going to be way more competitive than maybe a lot of people have given them credit for. And you could say the same thing about the Padres. Like they made the right moves in the offseason. Whether it was early or late, they did it. And now you mentioned all four of those teams. Those are all going to be wild card type teams, and they're all going to be battling it out, and they're all going to be very good teams. Like I think we don't give enough credit to the Padres and what they can do. We talk about like the top of their lineup and that's all they have, but like they put up together some really good at bats up and down. I like the young kid in center field. He looks like he's pretty comfortable out there. Just good baseball, man. It really was.
Yeah, I think on the Padres, or excuse me, on the Giants side of thing, it is funny. Like we talked about, they got a lot of their bidding done late. Like it was one of those, the offseason felt like it had already moved on a little bit. It was like, okay, Robbie Ray trade, but when will we see him this year? Jung-Hoo Lee, we were like, okay, this is, this guy's going to have to hit a lot to live up to that contract. But then their offseason kept going, and it's Soler and it's Chapman. And then Snell, who I think he's going to make his debut Wednesday, that it is, I had a little head tilt moment where, who is it, Farhan, who runs San Francisco? Farhan Zaidi.
Crushed it.
That's a guy that we're a couple years removed from him being like one of baseball's wunderkind. Like, Farhan, this guy's different. This guy's, he's a guy that a couple years of middling Giants baseball, and we kind of let that go, that they had a big old offseason, and Chapman contributes. Jordan Hicks contributes. Soler, Lee, like all the guys that they ended up going out and getting contribute. And on that opening weekend, that feels impactful. And I hope it is for them. On the Padres side, which, we got a sampling of them over in Korea, so this is the follow-up. They come back, they honor Seidler that day. Trailing after the seventh inning, they only came back 7 times last year, so to get one of those out of the way. And then they just go nut job on the Sunday game. Campusano and Ha-Seong Kim both with 3-run homers. For the 13-4 blowout. So, yeah, I mean, that Padres lineup, when you look at their young guys, if you believe in some Jackson Merrill, Campusano, that Padres lineup gets long instead of kind of the Padres we've been talking about without the balance throughout their lineup.
Yeah, and I think going back to the Giants side, we kind of questioned their pitching staff as well. I mean, there's a lot of interesting things they're trying to do there. I mean, you got Harrison, who's a young guy that they believe in. He had a great start. 6 innings pitched, 2 earned runs. Logan Webb does his thing. Jordan Hicks, biggest wild card maybe in the big leagues,
right?
As a starting pitcher. They believe in this guy, and he throws 5 innings pitched. He walks 1 guy, no runs, or no earned runs. Like, if they have Webb and Hicks and Harrison and Cobb and Ray and
Snell,
it's like now all of a sudden this team's flushed with pitching. Look out for the Giants this year.
It's going to be a fun year out there. I don't know how it ends. I think we half know where the Dodgers season is going to end. It'll be in October. It's just where. And again, Trev, this one's high and tight for me. I mean, that comeback in the final game was some Dodgers, like, holy crap. And these guys will not be out of a ball game all year. You know, the one game St. Louis wins, it's in extras. Mookie goes insane. Freddie goes insane. Like, I think you're highlighting someone from the series later. Teoscar, I think he gets snubbed in this series and in this lineup a little bit. But, my God, man, that looked like a guy that took a 1-year, $25 million chance on himself, so not too bad. But, like, that was one we just shrugged off in the Dodgers offseason, and that dude has constantly been a problem that they're special.
If you have Teoscar and Outman and Muncy, like having good at bats for you, like that lineup it's just relentless. It really is, dude. Watching Mookie, Ohtani, and Freeman hit back to back all year is going to be very, very special. But don't forget about those guys at the bottom of the lineup. I mean, Will Smith gets the extension. He's a freaking animal. I will say in that last game it was pretty interesting. Vesia comes in, gets some big strikeouts. He hits a guy, I think 3-2.
Yep.
Then strikes out Goldschmidt, but it's catcher's interference.
Interference, yeah.
So he goes to first base. They get 2 runs there. Then he comes back and strikes out the next guy. And then, the Cardinals, because of the extra inning game, because of, some up and downs in the bullpen, they didn't have the full slate of guys ready to go. I think Marmol did say Helsley would have been in there if they had the lead in the 9th. But they stick with Lefty King against some righties, but ends up Muncy being the guy that gets the job done against them. Really, really fun, good at bats for the Dodgers on Sunday Night Baseball, with a national audience. So it's going to be a fun year in LA. And I am talking about one of their guys later on in the show.
Little teaser. Snakes, I love you guys, but you, like I kind of said, you just beat up on the rock pile. That was as tough of a start to a season as you can have. Rockies bounce back.
Snakes are freaking, like, I don't care if it's in the Rockies. The Snakes are a good dang team. And I think I've been saying recency bias. They went on a run in the playoffs. What do we really know about this team? This is a team. That's what we know about this team. That's what I like. This is a baseball team, a well-constructed roster that can beat you in so many different ways. They played great.
If you haven't seen Eugenio Suarez's hair, oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
We're a big sex appeal show.
He looks like Gaston from freaking
We're baseball's
Beauty and the Beast.
#1 sexy show. I think there's no argument there. And what Suarez is putting out on the field is like, it's almost like cover the kid's eyes. Like, I don't know if you're ready for this.
It's like Fabio mixed with Gaston. Like they have the new helmets. He's got it behind his ears with the earrings. Like leans back on a homer.
It's too sexy.
Freak.
Lord is banging. Trev, again, a little high and tight before we kind of get to the second half of the show. Are your feelings changed on Pittsburgh at all? It's 4 games to start the year. They win them all. I don't know. Does the scope of the Pirates change?
Yeah, I think we could. Like, I wrote them off for contention in the NL Central. And maybe I don't know if they can win the NL Central, but they're going to be more competitive than I'm giving them credit to. That bullpen. Talk about having a hell of a series. I don't know what the final numbers are. Beebs, you got those final numbers? I know they're on the sheet somewhere. Chime in when you get them. They dominated. And then we got just good old-fashioned comebacks and good at bats up and down the lineup. Rowdy Tellez tying the game, doing his thing. He was fired up. The mentality there seemed a little bit different than the mentality in the Marlins clubhouse.
Pittsburgh allowed 2 runs over 20 and a third innings with their bullpen.
Sure.
I mean, that's how you win games, man.
Jared Jones, a kid, first Pirate pitcher.
Hey, talk about him in a little bit too.
Okay. Braves, Phillies. I mean, it's kind of one of those weird ones. Everyone listening knows those guys, and all those guys did their thing. That I'm kind of clean there. Sean Murphy banged up. I don't like that.
Wasn't this just like the perfect Braves Phillies regular season series?
This is Braves Phillies. Like everyone,
this is it. Dude.
Everyone kind of went nuts. Like Like Max Fried gets knocked out, and you're like, yeah, and then it's like, wait, okay, so the Braves won the game. Max Fried got knocked out in the first inning, 12-4. And then that final game where the play gets overturned, I was kind of surprised it got overturned, and then Philly rolls from there. Jesse Chavez got
obviously on the Braves again.
3 innings in this game. I didn't even know he was like built up. The Braves just were like, all right.
He's always built up, bro. That
He's
guy
always built up. That's a great point. That's a great point.
I love
Jesse
him.
Chavez.
He's never
pitched,
not been built up.
He was built for the 1992 season. Just you need 3 innings right now. Boom.
Me, Jesse Chavez, Niger Morgan, backyard patio in Scottsdale. Maybe some devil's lettuce involved. I'm not going to say there was or there wasn't.
Okay.
That's a crew right there, by the way. Holy shnikes, just thought about that.
Dream.
We're really glossing over that series. Ozzie Albies, holy shit. Like,
homered from both sides of the plate.
Doesn't matter where he's hit. Matt Olson, I believe it was a 47-degree launch angled homer. That's a moonball, people. Yeah. I would have loved to have been in the stadium for that.
Just to see the height on that bad boy.
Oh my gosh. Sale with a good outing. I think Braves fans will take that every single time.
He looks good.
Yeah, I mean, really just it went the way that you'd think a regular season Phillies Braves series would go. Some good performances, some bad ones. These teams are going to be neck and neck all year long.
And then I think to close out the series, Cubs Rangers, your defending champ Texas Rangers. We see some of the kids banging it around out there. It's, my God, Wyatt Langford looks like a man. His forearms,
love him. Forearms are unbelievable.
Are just silly.
Bro.
Like I don't.
I told Chris Rose that he's just a ball player, right?
He just looks like his forearms look like he's worked construction for 25 years and he's 20 years old. Like it doesn't really make sense to me. The play that came out of this game was the Jonah Heim. It feels like, again, baseball moves quick. The foul tip, but it wasn't called. Jonah Heim's arguing, and the run comes home to score. Ends up not being the deciding run in the game. But any thoughts on that, Trev?
I mean, look, you got to make the play.
Yeah.
I know you want to argue it, but if the umpire's not saying anything, you got to go find the ball. There was another instance, I believe Sal Perez was doing the same thing in the Royals game where he was kind of asking the umpire something, but he retrieved the ball. Jonah Heim knew that. He said that after the game. Jankowski does his thing, gives Heim the opportunity to do his thing. They get the job done. Texas gets their rings. The banner goes down. It's a great series for them. Obviously, the walk-off. Then the second game, they just exploded. Everybody hit a homer. Adelise, Josh Jung, Jared Walsh, who looks good in that uniform.
Yeah.
Dig that. I didn't know he was on the Rangers.
Yeah.
He looked really good. And then Seager, like, this guy just is a fucking baller, man. Unbelievable.
Probably.
On the Cubs side, yeah, Steele gets hurt on that PFP play, but I think it's kind of like just a minor hamstring. He'll be out a couple starts, which sucks, but
I saw a month listed, which that was one of my
I thought
fears.
It was a grade 1 easy hamstring pull. Maybe they're just going to give him that time to make sure it's good, which is probably the smart thing to do. Then shout out Happer that last day, 4 for 5, 2 ribbies.
Oops. Hey, there's a lot of teams we're going to talk about a little more in the second half of the show. That's how the show was built to be done. I'm looking at a guy I'm about to highlight in a second. Cincinnati Reds, we're always getting to you this year. You guys are my team. Let's get into Standout Performances. Standout Performances are brought to you by BetterHelp. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. How's your social battery right now? Because it can be easy to ignore our social battery and spread ourselves thin, especially with social gatherings after the winter, getting back into it. How do you recharge? Some people thrive around people. Some people need more time alone. Therapy can help give you the self-awareness to build a social life that doesn't drain your battery. If you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire, Get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Find your social sweet spot with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/TalkinBaseball. Name the show. Get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/TalkinBaseball. There's a link in the description. Trevor Goof, who is your first standout performer of the year?
I'm giving one and then a side note. And people know I love starting pitchers.
Yeah.
People know that about me. I'm going to go with Bobby Miller, man. 6 innings pitched, 11 Ks, 1 walk. He is fired up. He looks every bit of an ace.
Yeah.
Like this guy's going to grow into like he's like the next Walker Buehler. Like aren't they pretty similar? Like I know there's different types of pitches, all these different things, but the moxie, I guess, is what I'm kind of talking about. He was filthy. I get a text late night from Justin Morneau.
Okay. Flex,
yeah. He's like, how does Bobby Miller ever give up a run? I'm like, dude, I don't know. Like his stuff is incredible. The swings and misses. Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know what else there is to say. I saw this guy in the spring training exhibition game against the Angels, and I saw him throw like 3 or 4 pitches, and I was all in on him. Then I'm all in on him. Now I'll be all in on him for a long time. He has the right mentality, kind of like a different mentality than a lot of like the Dodgers players have. Like I feel like Dodgers players are pretty chill. A lot of rich dudes who are like really, really good. And like they're
Hall of
calm.
Famers.
They're kind of like calm, cool, and collected,
Yeah.
right? You talk about Ohtani, Betts, like he'll show some emotion every once in a while. But Freddie's cool. Will Smith is like that. Max Muncy's like that. Bobby Miller's a freaking animal.
Yeah.
And I think he brings that to the team, which is very important. So shout out. I mean, what a freaking outing, dude. Unbelievable. And then my little side note is Jared Jones and the Pirates.
Yeah.
We talk about hot boys. He's a hot boy. He's got the hair, the swing and miss stuff. 5 2/3 innings pitched, 10 Ks in his MLB debut. He follows me. We follow each other.
Oh, okay. It's like that.
That's kind of why I went there.
Okay.
I bought all the stock. Sorry, people. It's sold out.
Yeah.
The Pirates are going obviously in the right direction. Paul Skenes is at AAA. Why is Paul Skenes at AAA?
Hey.
Give me one fucking reason why Paul Skenes is in AAA.
Stick around, Pirates. That's all
What
I
are we
ask.
doing? Get him
He's
up
not
to the
ready,
show.
Trev. He's not ready.
What's he doing down there, Pop?
One thing.
I mean,
is
come on. You
service
just
time?
swept the Marlins.
Oh.
You just swept the Marlins. You start off 4-0. Get him up there. Keep the momentum rolling. What did he do? I think it was like 5 innings pitched, like 15 Ks or some shit like that. Like it was something close to that.
He's working on his pitches.
So I don't know, man. Shout out to both
better.
the starting pitchers. You know I love starting pitchers, Jake.
Him and that Livy Dunn. They're an item, right?
Sounds
Anyways.
right.
She's all right.
Jared Jones, 5.2, 10 Ks, most strikeouts since Tim Wakefield, I think. So a little shout out in RIP, which sucks because Wakefield, awesome MLB icon in his own way. Jared Jones, top 100 prospect shoved. And yet, Bobby Miller, man, it's one of those weird things. Like if Bobby Miller was a Mariners pitcher, I feel like we would have talked about him more this offseason. But he's on the Dodgers, and you're just, Glass now, Yamamoto, is Kershaw coming back? And it's like, this guy had an awesome rookie year, and he's nasty.
Beavers, I did have Bobby Miller over like 130 strikeouts on the year. He's already got 11.
That's
in one
over.
start.
It's an awfully nice start.
Just
It's
cash
an awfully
that.
nice start for me.
Just cash that. Great standouts, Trev. A lot of good options this week. Like
Good options.
Like there were at anyone who was my Yankees or Snakes had a ton of options. That I wanted to highlight again. I think it's a team that's one of the best teams in baseball, and it was what you were leaking into before, Trev. And I unplanned. I'm going Gunnar Henderson. Gunnar put together a 3-for-4 with a triple, a homer, 3 RBI, 2 runs. He made a couple really nice plays at shortstop. And I had this weird moment, I think it was last week doing Wake and Jake, that it was, Adley Rushman came up, and we got all of it. We got his kickoff highlights at Oregon State, and this guy's the man, and he comes up, and he's taking it all in.
Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, like we've got everything on Adley. He's a silly guy. I think you should leave. Like he's we got Adley covered. Jackson Holiday, dude, I know everything about this guy. I know he's engaged and he's sleeping in a batting cage. I know who his daddy is. Like,
that kid's him.
Gunnar Henderson won Rookie of the Year, put up crazy numbers, is kind of the reason they get to keep Jackson Holiday in the minors. Why is he in the minor leagues? Him and Paul Skenes texting each other every day. Dude, I don't know anything about Gunnar's personality. I just know he's a baller. And he's the starting shortstop on a team that could have the best record in the American League. They took care of their work with the Halos this weekend. And man, they, even in the final game that the Angels won, like, it's why I love this team. They're relentless up and down the lineup. Like, they lined into a double play in the 8th inning. That was the only, like, that's what was going to stop them from coming back. Like, hey, we're going to do everything right, but sometimes the baseball gods just don't kick in. And he is like, he's their current, Adley's the star, the social media star. He's the catcher and all that. Like, currently, Gunnar Henderson is the best player on the best team, and I just, like, don't know who he is, really.
It's the Corey Seager thing.
Yeah, a little
Corey
bit.
Seager.
A little
Like,
bit.
Corey Seager on the Dodgers, like, Dodger fans like, we can't let this guy go. We can't let this guy go. He's so freaking good. But he was, he wasn't the most outgoing, personality on the team. So you kind of just, I guess you don't see a lot of them or hear a lot of them. I feel like it's like they're very similar type personalities and players, to be honest with you.
Right.
Which is a pretty good comparison for Gunnar. By the way, you don't follow me back on Instagram, Gunnar. You follow John Boy Media, but not me.
Dude. Stop.
I'm gonna be. That's every Standout Performance. Does this guy follow me on IG? New segment alert. No, it's not.
Stop.
Big part of whether or not you stood out.
Stop.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Only guys that follow me.
Best way
so
to
many
stand
guys.
out.
Yeah, exactly.
Catch my
so
attention.
many. It's actually so funny because it's probably true.
Pathetic.
So many guys could have went. We didn't even really talk about like the Reds, like Will Benson tying the game, Encarnacion Strand winning the game, Jonathan India 3-2 count, 2 outs, hitting a double to keep the inning going. Like the Reds had a bunch of standout performances. I did call, I don't know if it was on this show or Baseball Today, 30-30 season for Benson.
Whew.
I think it's a no doubter if he just plays.
Dude.
If they play him every day, 30-30 season, I would be willing to bet a lot of money on that.
He was out there manning center field. He almost robbed a homer, went off his glove. That guy, he is a dude. There's still more Reds talk coming, people. Like, if just
there is still
wait.
more Reds talk coming. You mentioned Oswaldo Cabrera and what he did. Like, is that going to be a thing? The Pearls are going to be back. Where the fuck are your Pearls? Thought you'd have them on.
Well, Trev, why don't we get to the next part of the show? I hope you're ready for it, because it's kind of what makes talking baseball different.
Dirt nasties on Fuego. That means I'm on fire, baby. Like Waco.
My favorite segment of the show, baby. And again, what a song for this show. All right, we got a lot to get through right now. How about in Arizona, our guy Lourdes Gurriel Jr. goes 8 for 17. What? 2 doubles, 3 homers, 10 ribbies. Let's get it going. Oswaldo Cabrera, just mentioned you, big dog. Kind of sexy. Like, good looking dude.
Yeah.
Right?
Swag.
Like, girls aren't throwing that guy to bed.
Confidence.
7 for 16. 2 double, 2 homers, 6 RBI. Mookie Betts, have you heard of him? My God, all he does is mash homers. 5 for 13. 3 of those 5 hits were home runs. They were all solo shots. Got to figure that out. 5 walks. He's got a 1.7 during the week. Teoscar Hernandez, my goodness, what a signing for them. 5 for 16. He had 3 homers and 6 RBIs. Ozzie Albies 5 for 13. 2 homers, 6 ribbies, 4 runs, a walk, and a stolen base. Juan Soto hit 528 in the series. 9 for 17. The double, the homer, 4 ribbies, 3 walks. He's just an absolute beast. And how about some pitcher love right now?
Yeah.
Kansas City.
Yeah.
They look pretty good. I watched them play against the Twins.
played?
They looked pretty good. I get why people are kind of on them. I get it. Brady Singer, 7 innings pitched, 10 Ks against my Twins. Come on, guys. Only 3 hits, no earned runs. George Kirby, we could have mentioned a lot of pitching performances in that series. George Kirby gets mentioned here. 6 2/3, 2 hits, no earned runs, 8 Ks. I might mess this name up.
Better not.
Ryan Barucki.
Ookie Baruki.
Barucki or Barucki?
I don't know. I think Barucki, but
We got the pronunciation sheet. Need to look that one up. For the Pirates, we talked about their bullpen and what they were able to do. This guy was a big part of it. 3 games. He pitches an inning in each from 3 innings pitched, 2 holds, 5 Ks, no runs, no walks. That's how you get the job done, my people. And that wasn't Fuego. I felt like we could have had a million more.
how did you not mention? Yeah, I mean, it's opening weekend. I mentioned this on Talking Yanks yesterday. The announcers were having way too much fun with like, this guy's got a 1.5 OPS. You think that's gonna keep going? It's like, it's literally the third. Like,
Yeah, shut up.
make that joke. Maybe don't even make that joke.
Find your one spot for it.
It's crazy.
Make it count. Barucki.
Crushed it.
Barucki.
Nailed it.
Pittsburgh bullpen and Brady Singer, man. If he pitches, I don't know. I don't know, Kansas City. I'll be watching. Slump Watch, you kind of been out, and it's too early, so we're not doing that. I do think my least favorite segment of the show that, we balance out in Fuego with is the injury report, but I think it's important, especially this time of year. And, you mentioned Royce Lewis. That's one of the big ones for me that this, people are debating, is he the best player in the AL Central, and he's the new cornerstone piece for Minnesota. You're telling me maybe 2 months?
I think it's not a good strain.
I know his
running the
quotes after the
bases,
game
man.
were just like, glad it's not my knee.
Yeah.
He had great quotes. He says,
Great quotes.
I might just be too electric for myself,
Right.
for my own well-being.
I put that in a great picture of
People
my
who
face.
don't know Royce Lewis, gosh, I wish you did. This guy is the best. We need him on the field.
Justin Steele, that was the big one in Cubs land. We talked about that. Might be a month. We'll see. Sean Murphy for the Braves. I mean, all right. Hey, Darno, we're just going to need you to do what you do. Couple other, Nick Senzel, Ciano Perez for Baltimore. Royce Lewis, Justin Steele, and Sean Murphy definitely highlight the list of injuries this week. But with all of that, just do it.
Awards!
It's a special feeling. Something you can't replicate.
Gosh.
It's just something you can't replicate.
The
Trevor,
goat. Absolute goat, Kels.
your first
I'm first.
award of the year. Yeah.
All right. First of all, I just saw the name for your award. Oh, fucking can't wait for that one. My award is called the Uppers and Downers Award, and this one's a little bit more of a mature award. I think every person kind of goes through a timeline of having an adult beverage that kind of lifts you up a little bit. I don't think they sell Four Locos anymore, but I believe that was kind of, I never had one. Thank goodness. I was too old for that. But you drink one, there's some caffeine, a little bit upper, you get the alcohol, a little bit of downer. Those are just not good for you. And then you graduate, probably the next one will be a Red Bull vodka, which I think get really a really bad name. But if you have one, it's like not that bad, to be honest with you. Kind of tastes pretty good, but also I think pretty not good for you. Like you have the Red Bull that gets you up and the downer for the vodka, not good. There is one. And I think those first two are socially unacceptable. Like if I see you drinking a Red Bull vodka, I'm like, what are you doing? If I see you drinking a Four Loko, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I don't think you should be doing those all the time, and definitely probably not in public. But if you need to slam one real quick, whatever. There is one upper downer drink that is acceptable in public, but only as you get a little bit older do you start to enjoy them.
Right.
And that one, my friends, is the espresso martini. Espresso martini is essentially just a Red Bull vodka. It's vodka with espresso. What's the difference, my people? Am I right about that? Like,
it's a societal acceptance.
Why is that one acceptable? It's delicious. But why is that one okay? It's It's the adult's version of a Red Bull vodka.
Yeah.
And I do enjoy that. And maybe I need to get off. Now I just convinced myself probably not to have those.
Damn it.
But like I said, you got to be a little bit older to enjoy them. That's when you start to get into them. I don't know, say around 28 to 30. You know what else took a little bit of time for people to get into? My guy, Nick Martini of the Cincinnati Reds. This guy is, the story's awesome. And he had a hell of a weekend. So I wanted to make sure we highlight it. He was drafted in 2011. He didn't make his major league debut until his 8th season in Pro Bowl. I played 6 before I made my debut. I don't think I would have made it the extra 2 without quitting. It's a lot of time in the minor leagues. Bounces around a few different teams. Never been on an opening day roster before Thursday. Never played in a big league game earlier than May. He had a stint in Korea in 2022. So this guy has just been grinding it and grinding it. Last year, he signs a minor league deal with the Reds. Doesn't even go to big league camp, Jake. Ends up on the Reds roster at the end of the year where he pinch hits. And he's kind of found something. Like since he's been a Cincinnati Red, and this is, it's 88 plate appearances. So, bear with me a little bit here. But 288 batting average, 352 on base, 663 slugging, a 1.015. He's 1 dot in his Cincinnati Reds career. He likes hitting there. You could have him be a platoon guy, a pinch hitter, which he did last year. I believe I thought I had the stats up. Really good pinch hitting last year. Okay. To start the year this year, he hits a homer in the first game that gives the Reds a 3-0 lead, and his second homer just turned it into a rout. It was gone. Okay. He has quotes, "It almost felt like nothing. Even the first at bat, I had so much adrenaline because this place was packed out." You talked about the Texas Rangers opening day. I think the Cincinnati Reds hold that title for best opening day. The place was packed. It was awesome. He's a stud. Now he has that opening day. Okay, you can do it once. He does it again. I know the Nationals end up winning this game, but he comes in to pinch hit, and he gave the Reds a 6-4 lead with a 2-run double in the 8th inning. Since he was called up in August of last year, August 23rd, his slugging percentage, minimum 75 plate appearances, is 675. It's the 5th best in all of baseball. Now, those are all great stats, and it's a couple games, so why am I giving this guy such a shout-out? It's because of some quotes and some stories I've heard about his time in Louisville last year, playing for the AAA team. He's seeing all these guys get called up. He's seeing Elliot De La Cruz get called up. He's seeing Spencer Steer and all the young guys that we talked about last year get called up, and he's sitting in AAA, and he's not getting his flowers, and he's 28 or whatever he is, sitting there. Everyone talked about how good he was with these guys, helping them establish routines, helping them understand what it's like to be a professional. Even when he wasn't hitting well, he was really struggling at the beginning of the season, he was still doing what he was supposed to be doing, which is helping young kids out, like being a good teammate. They talk about in spring training, he was sitting, it was like him and TJ Friedel and, Emilio Pagan, other guys that are a little bit older on that Reds team were just kind of holding court in the middle of the Reds clubhouse, just talking ball, talking about life and how to be a big leaguer and what to do. Like, this guy is just a consummate professional, and now he's getting a little bit of a run, and he's performing. I love stories like that, Jake, where you grind it and you grind it and you grind it. And man, when you're in the minor leagues, you don't have anything to show for it. You don't make enough money for it to be like life-changing, or even honestly, most years you don't make enough money to even really live off of. It's not fun. It's difficult. But Martini has stuck through it. I think he's found a real role on this team too. If not in the starting lineup, spelling guys from time to time, like as a pinch hitter against right-handers, like this guy can really do it. He's shown the ability to do that. So the uppers and downers, Espresso Martini Award goes to Nick Martini. I love it, man. I wanted to give a shout out. I think it's probably one of, if not the best stories of opening day weekend. So shout out my guy.
I love it, Trev. I told the people there was more Reds talk coming. Before I get to the Reds, I want to talk uppers and downers for a little bit. One of my friends who will remain nameless, and this isn't nameless. One of my friends, he always says, he's like, hey man, he's like, if you end up doing drugs, uppers and downers, He's like, each of them on their own. If you're going to do uppers, do uppers. If you're going to do downers, do downers. Don't combine them. You got to be careful with that. That's unnatural. The espresso martini, hey, have one or two. Coffee, dude, has such a pass in our country that I don't know if it's right or wrong. Like,
I agree.
I saw Jack Doyle from We Got Ice. He was drinking this new, like, Dunkin' energy drink that's not coffee, and I was busting his balls, and he was like, should I just drink coffee? Because I don't want my balls to be busted. But what's the difference? That's Talkin' Coffee, which is coming on after this program. The Nick Martini story is awesome. Trev, if you want to drive yourself kind of nutty, look at his baseball reference page. The guy has played 144 games, and he has an 800 OPS. Like, Nick Martini's been hitting. He just hasn't always gotten the right opportunity, and this is a guy that did some KBO time. So for him to hit 2 homers on opening day, only gets the opportunity because they've had some injuries. I mean, Jake Fraley is filling in for TJ Friedel, and like that put things in motion. Noelvi Marte gets suspended. If he doesn't get suspended, and Friedel doesn't get hurt, and Matt McClain, we might not be talking about him at all. Instead, we're talking about an all-time opening day performance. And Nick Martini, he also, I might bump Jolly and tell him to make a video. Nick Martini batted leadoff in the 2018 A's-Yankees one-game playoff game. And it was just like, wait, who's this guy? And it's because he played for a little bit and was getting on base. So Nick Martini, everyone's got their own baseball story. And I like where you landed the bus, Trev, because you were questioning, where's the Reds' leadership going to come from? And it can come from different places. And maybe for a little bit, a little Nick Martini. I love these Reds so much. They're currently leading the National League in slugging and OPS. Jake Fraley went nuts this weekend. Will Benson went nuts this weekend. Steer went nuts this weekend. They are so fun. And a shout out to Frankie Montas. Half missed that on the way through. They give him the 1-year taster deal. He comes out 6 innings shut. No walks, no earned runs. That if he's good, let me know what that does for your Reds expectation. The NL Central, it's going to be a fun one to track again this year. Trev, you said you were excited for my award, and as I left another buddy nameless, I do want to talk about our buddy, Nameless Jeff Award, because it's where I'm going with my first award for the season. Nameless Jeff, those that know, Trev's infamous prediction video that came out. I think one of our World Series recaps after Nameless was floating around. It was one of those, at the time it felt natural. And then looking back, it was like, whoa, what are we about? The Nameless Jeff Award, and it's funny how much you've been alluding to it with your different Instagram friends in baseball now and stuff like that. That I'm giving out the Nameless Jeff Award because, Trev, I saw your fingerprints all over this weekend. And when I was looking to give out my award, for the first one of the year, there's too many guys. I couldn't cut it down. But how about Matt Chapman giving a 2-homer day? Welcome back. I'm here, San Francisco, and if I have a big season, I'm going to get a big old bag, and I just might. And what are the Giants going to do this year? Jack Flaherty, a guy that I think we had a moment when things were starting to get kind of tough in St. Louis, and we were definitely highlighting his good outings a little more than his bad outings. I think we were having a little bit of journalistic integrity call-outs.
Always.
Well, Jack Flaherty went out and dropped it for 6 innings this weekend with his new Tigers, wearing number 9, single-digit pitcher.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's
spring switch.
That's Jack. That's Jack a little bit. And he dropped it this weekend. And then the last one that jumped out in a funny way to me, because I still think you owe him a bottle of wine. Ian Happ's 4-hit day. Come on, Trev.
I owe him several bottles now. I think interest.
It's racking up, dude. Hey, if I'm being honest, it was a little bit of a cop-out just because this opening weekend, so many guys ball out. It feels weird not doing 10 minutes on Corbin Burns. He goes out in Baltimore, does his thing. Jock Peterson, I was going to highlight him. He sits out opening day while the boys are just doing laps around the bases. He shows up the next day, goes 4 for 4. His Diamondbacks debut. I think he was the first snake to ever do that. So there was so much just fun, awesome stuff around the baseball field with every team that there's probably some of you listening to this that are like, I can't believe you didn't mention blank. Well, today I'm going to tell you, mention them in the comments because there was so much that to get to all of it was impossible.
I can't believe we didn't talk about Corbin Burns. We did on Baseball Today because we did an episode after that first game. He gives up a homer to Trout. Oh, man, like what's going to go on in this outing? And then he strikes out 11 people, walks none. He's an absolute menace. Baltimore Orioles fans, I'm sorry we didn't mention him because that deserved to be mentioned.
Hey, it's there. It's in there. Trev, I think it's Baseball Today time for you. I see Dan Rourke setting up in the lab next door right now.
Oh, yeah, we're ready, baby.
If you guys need more Trevor Goof, go check out Baseball Today. We'll be back Wednesday. John Bino will be here. We're in the thick of it, dude. Baseball's back.
Jake's cool. No, just kidding. April Fool's.
Suck me.
Somebody.
Oh, you guys didn't have Jeff Passan to get me this year?
Oh. April Fools, man.
Still kind of want to fight Jeff Passan.
I know, I can sense that. Paul Blackburn 7 shut.
Nice.
Me and Jeff Passan's friendly wrestling match. Just friendly.
Just want to roll around.
I'd watch.